and this is me wearing a Commanders jersey. I mean, you know me. I don't love anyone in the NFC East, but credit Philadelphia and the Eagles because their defense is playing unbelievable. And they went out and they did this without Devontae Smith. They went on the road to Baltimore and beat the Ravens in their house without one of their best players on offense.
Also, like, the game looked done. It looked done at 9-0. It looked like it was going to be a blowout. Jalen Hurts seemed rattled. It just was all going poorly. The Ravens were into minus 700 on the money line to win, and they were able to turn it around, and then they went full Eagles in the second half. They just never threw the ball. They never dropped back to pass, basically, because they were just able to get it done on the ground, and then Saquon has what, for at least 3 hours, was his MVP moment with that touchdown run, the 25-yarder, only for it to be outdone by Josh Allen in the nightcap. But, I mean, yeah, this team has a real case to be considered the best team in football right now.
It'll be really interesting to see what happens down the stretch between them and Detroit for who gets the number one seed and where the road to the playoffs go. Jalen Hurts, a so-so day fantasy-wise. He bails you out with a rushing touchdown. He throws one to Goddard as well. But as we head into Monday Night Football, he's just the 15th best quarterback in fantasy this week as well. Just 17.6. Almost half his fantasy points this year have come from rushing and rushing touchdowns. Again, gets another brotherly shove in this one. Second fewest passing yards this season. But that's what this team wants to be. They want to be a run-heavy team, play good defense. And weirdly, Jalen Hurts has become sort of a game manager.
Yeah.
But I think for fantasy purposes, he's still a locked-in starter, even though, not a great day at the office for him.
Yeah, and I will say as well, like, the stats, they're not good. Like, 11 for 19, 118 passing yards, 93 passer rating, 52 QBR. I thought he played really well in this game, and I thought he played better than he has in recent weeks. He just seemed to be much more in control. He's converting third downs when he needed to, was confident running. So I think Hurts, who was very shaky early in the season, I think he is turning the corner a bit, particularly after a tough first quarter.
They kind of play him the way the Steelers were playing Justin Fields in the beginning of the year, where fantasy production-wise, where it's like you're probably going to get 18 to 22 pass attempts, and you're going to need a lot of rushing production. But their line is so good and their run game is so good that he consistently gets that week in and week out.
Yeah, and they're not getting into shooters because their defense is so good. No. I mean, for the longest time, the Eagles' defense was a problem.
The back end was a disaster.
Right, and the offense was having to carry them, and now it's not. Their defense is so fantastic, and so again, on the road at a very tough opponent, no Devontae Smith, so they maybe wanted to play more conservative. That's what they did. Dallas Goedert continues his streak of when either A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith are out. He produces 3 for 35. He gets the touchdown. He gets banged up in this game as well. Doesn't seem serious. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But otherwise, typical game from Philadelphia.
Yep. And just one last thing on the Eagles. Their schedule the rest of the way. And this is why I think that Saquon has a real chance at MVP, because I think he has a chance to break the rushing record because of this schedule. They're 12-point favorites home to the Panthers, then they're home to the Steelers, they're at your Commanders, Matthew, and we saw what they did to the Commanders a few weeks ago, and then they're home Cowboys, home Giants.
Yeah.
Like, this is as
Steelers
easy
is
as
the
it
only
gets.
Steelers is the only team that really, if you're an Eagles fan, the Steelers are the only team that should give you any sort of pause, and that is a home game. I could see Washington at Week 16 being a trap game for them sort of looking ahead to the, Washington will have time to prepare for that one. They won't be on a short week. But still, they're a better team than the Commanders, and this is me.
Yeah.
Homer McHomerson.
The key is as well is they've got 4 of these last 5 games at home, and the one road game is, what's the drive from Washington to Philadelphia? It's not a big trip, so they're going to be home, they're going to be rested, and look, they're going to be double-digit favorites in 3 of those games. They'll be 5.5, 6-point favorites against the Steelers. They'll be favored against the Commanders. That'll be narrower, but they're very set up.
That wouldn't even really be a road game because the Commanders have been so bad for so long. A lot of people didn't buy season tickets. Next year it'll be, but like you saw it like at the Steelers game. Like there's going to be that'll be half filled with the Eagles fans because a lot of people in the DC area bought individual game tickets when they went on sale because they just didn't have a lot of season ticket sales because people weren't sure about who knows what those tickets went before they got Jane Daniels. Lasting effects of Dan Snyder's ownership as well. Other side of the ball, we talked. The only other thing I want to mention here is Mark Andrews, who quietly has a 20% target share in 3 of the last 4 games, had 0 such games in the first 9 weeks of the season. Since week 6, Mark Andrews, friend of the podcast, friend of the show, is tight in 7 in points per game. He's scored in 6 of the 8 games in that stretch. It's been it's been much more touchdown dependent. But regardless, he has always been a red zone threat. Charlie Kohler banged up, so he's playing maybe more snaps as a tight end as well. And so Rashad Bateman leaves this game with an injury as well. Mark Andrews finally starting to look like Mark Andrews.
Yep, absolutely. And look, there was some miracle type of catches from Andrews, the type that weren't miracles in the previous years because he would just make those plays. It seems like just more than anything, just he looks fully healthy.
Yeah, I think he's back into being a low-end tight end one, somebody that you can just confidently start no matter what. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.